Sci-fi fiction storytelling. Name, Rural Teacher. Author, Liu CiXin. This is the story of a village teacher who saves humanity. 50,000 light-years away from Earth, in the center of the Milky Way, an interstellar war that has lasted for 20,000 years is drawing to a close. A square area gradually appeared in the space, and a square team of spaceships gradually emerged in the area. This is the Starfleet of the carbon-based Federation of the Galaxy, completing the first time space transition of this cruise. The war is finally over. The commander's smart field vibrated, relaying the message to his deputy. At that moment 20,000 years ago, the silicon-based empire launched a full-scale attack on the carbon-based Federation from the outer reaches of the galaxy. On a 10,000 light-year-long front, more than 5 million interstellar battleships of the silicon-based empire simultaneously began to stellar leapfrog. Each warship first uses the energy of a star to open a space-time wormhole, then jumps from this wormhole to another star, and then uses the energy of the star to open a second wormhole to continue the transition. In this way, in a very short time in time, the spacecraft can make a space-time jump from the edge of the Milky Way to the center of the Milky Way. When millions of warships perform stellar leapfrogs at the same time, the effect is terrifying. A red band of light 10,000 light-years long appears at the edge of the Milky Way, moving toward the center of the Milky Way. The red band of color-changing stars, like a blood wave 10,000 light-years long, swarm towards the territory of the carbon-based Federation. Some planets were instantly evaporated and turned to ashes. This is an interstellar war that has almost affected the entire galaxy. It is a fierce competition for survival between carbon-based and silicon-based civilizations in the galaxy. This fight is 20,000 years. At that time, a large number of unimaginable battleship groups on both sides made a large number of ultra-short distance space-time jumps in order to conduct tactical maneuvers. It is said that some interstellar fighters at that time, when fighting in space, the distance of space-time jumps was unbelievably short. Thousands of meters. In this way, the time and space structure of the ancient battlefield is riddled with holes. The positions of today and tomorrow may be seriously reversed, and the law of causality no longer exists. Once the spacecraft strays into this area, it may be twisted into a slender metal rope in an instant, or pressed into an atomic thick film, or torn to shreds by a gust of radiation. Due to the dislocation of time and space, people here may instantly return to the state of a child or age into a pile of bones in 1 second. At the end of the battle, the star fleets of both sides were almost destroyed. The words are divided into two parts. On the outermost cantilever of the desolate Milky Way, there is a small solar system with humans living on the third planet. What I want to tell here is the story of a teacher in a mountain village in the northwest who saved mankind. There is very little land that can be cultivated in the village, and no matter how hard people work, there is not much food grown in the land. There are dozens of households in the village, and some elderly people spend their time basking their stomachs, drinking large bowls of tea and playing mahjong during the day. Every year at the end of the year, the state always sends some relief funds for fear of starvation. There are several dilapidated houses on the slope in the center of the village. There are blackboards and small tables and chairs in the yard. It is an elementary school, and it is the only bright spot in the village. Teacher Lee is there to teach some children to read and write every day. Poverty is not the most terrible thing, the most terrible thing is the numbness of the people there to the status quo. Once I came to the village to help the poor and installed a submersible pump for irrigation in the village. The whole village ate 2 dumplings, and it was a good year. A leather factory came to buy land to build a factory, and sold the land after it was unclear. After the factory was built, the poisonous water flowed into the river and seeped into it. In the well, people will get cancer when they drink it. But no one cares, and it feels good. Mr. Lee was very ill and knew that his time was running out. This is the case. Half a year ago, the Chen Huang temple at the entrance of the village collapsed. Some people wanted to take the beams of the school to build the Chen Huang temple. Of course, Mr. Lee refused. Well-meaning people took him to the city hospital. While examining the injury, doctors accidentally discovered he had cancer. The doctor congratulated him on a blessing in disguise, because it was in the early stages and could be cured with surgery. He asked the doctor how much it would cost for the operation. The doctor said that the cost can be appropriately reduced, not too much, just over 20,000 yuan. Thinking that he came from a remote mountainous area, the doctor then explained to him in detail how to do the hospitalization procedures. He listened silently, and suddenly asked, "If I don't have surgery, how long will I have?" The doctor stared at him blankly for a while. "Son," said, "half a year." Teacher Li breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that at least half a year will be able to send this graduating class away. He really couldn't afford more than 20,000 yuan. He spent all the money on the children, and he only had 2,000 yuan in his pocket. He used the 2,000 yuan to buy some children's books and a bottle of cheap pain relievers, and went back to the village. At that time, Mr. Li could have stayed in the city to work, but later came to this small mountain village to be a teacher. Most of the daughter-in-law in the village are bought, and no one wants to marry here. But there is a girl named CiXin in the village, who often comes to see Teacher Li, helps with the laundry, and looks after the children. She admires literate people. Unfortunately, later, there was a man in the village who often went to work in the city, called Erton, and earned 20,000 to 30,000 yuan. He was a rich household in the village. Erton gave CiXin a gold-plated necklace and a bottle of cheap perfume, so CiXin became Erton's daughter-in-law. The children later learned that the teacher was ill, so they went to the Chenghuang temple to burn some paper, hoping to bless the teacher's recovery. At night, 12 little shadows are set off by the flames, like 12 little suns, which can be seen from a distance. Teacher Li was very moved and vowed to give them the most important class. Turning back to Starfleet, the last showdown took place a year ago. After the silicon-based empire was retreating, it gathered its last strength and built an antimatter cloud barrier with a radius of 1,000 light-years. The first fleet of ships that the carbon-based Federation attacked was plunged into an antimatter cloud just after completing the time shift. The antimatter cloud is very thin, but it has great lethality to warships. The warships of the carbon-based Federation immediately turned into fireballs, but they still rushed towards their targets. Each battleship dragged a long tail of fire, leaving a fluorescent trail behind, forming the most spectacular and tragic picture in the carbon-silicon war. They used their sacrifices to open a passage in the antimatter cloud for subsequent strike fleets. The carbon-based fleet in the back passed through the passage, drove straight in, and completely wiped out the silicon-based fleet. In this battle, the last fleet of the silicon-based empire was driven to the most desolate region of the galaxy, the top of the first spiral arm. Now, this carbon-based Federation fleet will complete the last mission of the war. They will establish a 500 light-year wide barrier in the middle of the first spiral arm. And most of the stars in the barrier will be destroyed to stop the stellar leapfrog of silicon-based empires. Once the isolation belt is created, if the silicon-based empire wants to enter the central region of the Milky Way, it can only cross the distance of 500 light-years at sub-light speed. In this way, the silicon-based empire is effectively imprisoned at the top of the first spiral arm, and can no longer pose any serious threat to the carbon-based civilization in the central region of the galaxy. Out of respect for life, before clearing the stars, it is necessary to test whether there is a civilization above 3C that needs to be retained. Because of the vastness of the universe, even within 500 light-years, there are hundreds of millions of stars. Therefore, a random sampling method will be used, and it is impossible to conduct a detailed analysis of each star. The silicon-based fleet will soon be scanning the solar system and will take a sample on Earth. In a corner of the Earth, Mr. Li used his last strength to tell the children about Newton's 3 laws. Originally, you will learn this in junior high school, but it is estimated that most of you will not have the opportunity to go to junior high school. Try to understand it. If you can't understand it, just memorize it, and you will need it later. It's nighttime, and the children are no longer around the teacher. The body of life wept. A slender 4-dimensional beam was launched, and it happened to scan 12 children in a small mountain village. The holographic information of the children was completely copied into the super brain of the fleet, so 12 computer replicas of the children appeared in the super brain. Start the test now, the commander said. Question number 1, please describe the basic principles of biological evolution on your planet. Is it natural elimination or genetic mutation? The child was blankly silent. Question 2, please explain the source of the star's energy. The child was blankly silent. Question 3, please describe the molecular composition of the liquids that make up the oceans on your planet. The child remained dazedly silent. Let's stop here. The commander's smart field issued an order to execute. Fire the singularity bomb. Singularity bombs are transformed from miniature black holes and are infinitely small in size. Wherever it goes, the stars will be swept away one by one. Wait a minute, how long will it take for the singularity bomb to reach its target, said the commander. About 10 minutes left, said the subordinate. Take 5 minutes and do some more tests. All right. Question 1. When an object is not acted upon by an external force, how does it behave? In the vast blue space of the digital universe, the clear voices of children suddenly sounded. When an object is not acted upon by an external force, it will remain at rest or move in a straight line at a constant speed. Pass. Question 2. Please explain the relationship between the forces between two interacting objects. The children said, when an object exerts a force on a second object, the second object also exerts a force on the first object, and the two forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Pass. Question 3. For an object, please explain the relationship between its mass, external force, and acceleration. The children said in unison, the acceleration of an object is proportional to the force it experiences and inversely proportional to its mass. Passed. Civilization test passed. It is determined that there is a 3C class civilization on planet 3 of the target star. Singularity bomb turned, leaving the target. The faint blue light brushed past the edge of the sun. Earth is alive. Further inspection later found that there are towering buildings, countless planes, and cars, and artificial satellites. The commander was shocked. We almost destroyed a grade 5B civilization. So, what is the level of their memory inheritance? The commander asked. They have no memory inheritance, and all memories are acquired the day after tomorrow. So, what is the way of communication between their individuals? Extremely primitive, relying on sound waves. Moreover, they evolved on their own without the help of any external advanced civilization. Without memory inheritance, how can this species accumulate and transfer knowledge between generations? Is this necessary for the evolution of civilization? Report, they have a kind of individual, distributed in every corner of the planet, which acts as a medium for the transfer of knowledge between two generations of life forms. They are named teachers. Teacher, it sounds like a great ancient myth. Well, let's not disturb the civilization, draw a 100 light-year isolation zone, and ensure its safety. The children built a new grave overnight, and on the top of the small grave they erected a plank with the words Mr. Li's tomb written on it. The children walked into the distance in the morning sunshine. They carried the hope of Mr. Li and the hope of the people of the earth.